Okay, this is a quick vid for version 1.0.2 update of HF autocontroller. When you install it fresh or you put it over the top of 1.01 or whatever, it won't auto connect. You'll have to pick your COM port and hit connect to the tuner, and then that state will be saved that you've connected up, and it will recover to that state. I've added a whole bunch of extra stuff, extra features. We've got if idle for configured time, switch to an antenna port, and of course that antenna port can have a dummy load on it. And also weather based switch to a port, so if there's thunder, lightning, tornado or snow, then it will flip to an antenna port, and you can enable that by ticking on this option here and then clicking on Open Weather Map API, create an account here, and when you've logged in and everything, you get given a free key. You don't have to do anything else. You just go into your account section, which will be up here somewhere, view API keys, and you'll see a big long string which you can of numbers, and you can paste them in there. Copy paste them in there, put your lat long in, and then hit this check button, and it'll have a tick there or a cross if it worked. Now it seems like it takes up to an hour or so for the key to become active, so just be patient if you create a new account. And you've got an option here which, if the weather clears, you can return back to an antenna port that was previously in use before it made the switch. But I tend to not use that in case there's been like static build-up or whatever. So there we are. And if a change has been made due to idle or bad weather, then this will not be used, the frequency assignment of it, until the weather clears, or you turn this stuff off, or whatever you need to do to deal with it. I've added a couple of options down here to simulate HAZ RF for older firmware, because they don't seem to return that. 2.36 doesn't anyway. So we need to know if there's RF there for the store button to work when you're tuning. So that's simulated, and the same for frequency. It seems like the older firmwares don't return an updated number when you send it to the tuner until there's been power there, RF. So those couple of options have been added, and I've also added OmniRig support, so you don't need TCI. You can use it with other radios and stuff, and other bits of software, like on the Flex and whatnot. So we can go into OmniRig, and you'll see it switch over here, and when it's finished setting OmniRig up, you'll get this button option here where you can configure your OmniRig settings, and as you can see, it's red at the moment, so that receiver is not currently working. So I can go to receiver 1, which is essentially rig 1, turn my ICOM IC 9700 on, and it's just powering up now, and there we go, it just turned green, and there's the frequency, but that's not going to be dealt with because that's 2 meters. And HF autocontroller will ignore that, anything over 60 meg. So there we are, so that's in there. So I'll switch to back to TCI. There is also TCP/IP CAT, which can use the TCP/IP CAT server in Thetis. I don't know if it's going to stay there, but it's there for the moment, and it can be used if you want, but the TX support to track your transmit frequency doesn't work as well as it does through TCI. So I'm also going to use this video to quickly make a duplicate of this to show you how that's made, because this is entirely Thetis. This is a Thetis container with text overlays and things, and not part of HF autocontroller. There's no display at the moment, he says, for simulating the LCD, which you can see in the bottom left of this video, which is my the front of my HF Auto. I just like tilt, but that's the camera. You'll have to bear with me on that one. So right, let's make a copy. So what I'm going to do, I'll just leave that there for reference, and we will minimize this down. We'll just make sure this is all working. So we'll change frequency 790, and we're not seeing anything here because I'm outputting to a different UDP port. So it's using UDP JSON output to send this information across, and it's going to 12055. What I'll do, I'll change this to 12100 just for this video so we can see what's happening. And I just recycled the power, the setting on there to have it take effect. So we'll add a container, and we want it to let's get it outside of Thetis. So there we go. We'll minimize this down. So remember, it's 127.0.01 12100. So we'll minimize that down, give us a bit of space here to have a play around. And we'll go to the setup in Thetis, setup, networking, serial networking, multimeter I/O. So we'll go in here and we'll add UDP, and it was that IP, 127.0.01, but it was 12,100 was the port, so we'll hit OK on there. And as you see, there's nothing there. But if we were to send a frequency update to HF Auto Controller, it will do its thing, and then all of a sudden all this will populate with all the data that's coming in. So we want to mimic what I implemented up here before. So we want to make a copy of this into this window. So here we go. Appearance multimeter. We will add, we'll set the background of the window to this sort of olive drab color, which is close enough for now for this demo. Of course, you can change the colors to your heart's content up here, change it to however you look, and we will add a text overlay. So this first one will say Palstar HF Auto 1800, like so. We'll change the font size, slightly smaller, we'll go for 14, and we will set it to black, which you can hardly see there. But what we'll do, we'll set the background of that text overlay to this same olive drab, and we'll do the same when we're in transmit. And we will, at the moment, if you're going to transmit, the text will disappear because it's not in the text box here, and it will now change to white because we haven't assigned the same size and things here. So we'll also pick bold for this. And we'll hit this equal sign, and it will copy all the same settings over, and if we now flip to MOX, it won't change. So what we need to do now is move it over. So we'll shove it there in the middle somewhere, and we want to hit this equals to pull the same settings across to transmit, otherwise it will move location. So we've done that, and if we look at the box, there it is. It's a bit big, so we will shrink that down with the panel padding here, and we will make it like so, and then set the background again so it looks the same as the container background. And then we will add a spacer, which will be the black horizontal line, and we want to shrink that down as well. So there we go. We're at the first stage. We can shrink that panel a bit, which is that panel. So that's that. And we'll set that color back. So the next thing we need to do is add this auto one in. So we will come down here and we will add a text overlay. And we need to get it to say auto. So we'll just change the background color for now to something else so we can see what's going on. And we would need to get it to show auto. So we'll go back to the variables in the UDP port that they're coming in on, and we need to look for mode description, okay, which is auto. And of course, if I was to change it on the front of the unit, or through the software, in fact, which I can do here. If I was to go to manual, you see it changed to manual here. Then we'll go back to auto, and it's auto. So we need to use this variable. So we copy this one, we'll select it, and we'll hit copy to clipboard. We'll go back to the appearance, which is where we added that text overlay, and we will control V it into there. So there it is, and we'll control V it into the transmit as well, so it's displayed in transmit. We'll change the font to that, and we will set it black, and we'll make those the same for transmit and receive, and we'll push it across them just slightly. Reduce the height of that box, which we will leave there. And there's the first one done. So now if we were to change the setting on the tuner itself, it automatically changes. This one isn't going to, because it's using the wrong UDP port data now. So there you can see it's following the state of the tuner. And of course we will set that background to be the same as this olive drab in a moment. So now we need another one, which is the ant. So the antenna display, so we'll add a text overlay. However, with this one, right, so let's go and get the variable first. So we'll look in here, and we want the antenna that we're using. So there's antenna description, but we don't want it to say ant1, we just want the 1. So we'll look up and down here, and there it is, antenna selected. And we'll copy this, come across to here, we'll paste that in there, and we want it to be ant hash. So there we go, there's the ant1, and we'll copy this into the transmit so we get the same text if we're in transmit mode. We're now going to turn this panel off, so this grey panel here will disappear and the text will be left behind. We want to set this to black, and we want this to be bold. And we're going to drive it around into the center, roughly like so, and up a bit like there. And then we're going to copy the coordinates here, and we're going to copy the font setup for transmit. So there we go, we're now in that mode, so we can change antenna here, and you'll see it change up above. So that's working no problem. So now we need to add the third one, text overlay, and this needs to be the frequency. So we'll have a look up and down here. There's the displayed frequency, detected frequency in hertz, and there's the displayed frequency, which is the same as the LCD display on the front of the unit. So we'll copy that variable and we'll paste it in here, and there we go. We'll turn the background off again, show panel, get rid of that, set the font to bold and black, and we'll copy the settings into transmit, and then we'll drive this around, but we want it to show frequency equals, so F equals, so we'll put that in the front of it, in front of the variable, F equals. Drive this around. We won't have it quite right near the edge because we need an extra digit if we're on higher frequencies like 20 meters and some such, so we'll put him there like so, and we'll copy the coordinates so it doesn't move when we're in transmit. We'll just double check we've got all those, and we haven't for the mode. So if we were to see, notice how it's not in transmit. If we were to TX now, see how the mode is jumping. So we copy that across, and now it stays in the right place, so we're looking good there. So now we need to set the background color of this one to the olive drab, which will hide all that away. The next one we need to now add is the capacitor and inductor, and we'll do these with two separate text overlays. So we'll add another one, which is there in the bottom, and this will be the capacitor, so C equals. So we'll go and have a look in here. We're at 147, so we'll look for that in the list. Displayed value capacitor is the one we want, so copy that. We'll put that in there, and there it is, and we'll shove that across to somewhere suitable, which is round about there, say. We'll shrink this thing down. We'll leave that here so that when we add a signal power meter on the bottom, sorry, power and SWR, forward power, it will appear in the right place, because if we don't have this panel shown on this capacitor, it will overlap, so we need that there. So we'll get rid of that meter for now, and we'll set the backing color of this to be the olive drab, so it all looks the same. And then we'll copy this to here so it displays it in transmit. We'll set the font to bold, and we'll pick black, and then we'll copy that. But at the moment, as you can see, the coordinates are different for transmit, so if I was to do that, it was to jump, so we copy that across as well. Then it stays in place when we're in transmit. So now we need to add the inductor one. Text overlay. Go and have a look at our variables. The inductor is somewhere around here. He says, there we go, displayed value L. Copy that one. And come back here, put it into both sets, choose bold and black, and copy that. Get rid of this background so we can actually see what we're doing. And then we need to offset that, but we need to have L equals in front of there. Put that into the transmit one as well, and then we'll drive this across and up to make him somewhere similar to that other one, and we will copy the coordinates, otherwise, like I say, it will jump around. We want the coordinates the same for transmit offsets, so it'll stay there. Now the next thing to implement is the highlighting of the value that's being edited when in manual mode. So when you're in manual mode, you can pick capacitor or inductor by clicking on this C or L. And it'd be nice to have some sort of visual indicator like you get on the LCD. There's an arrow, if you notice, that moves, pointing at C at the moment and then pointing at L, the bottom left of this video. So it'd be nice to have some sort of visual representation of that. So we can do that in the container system of Thetis with what we call a LED indicator. So there it is, a LED indicator, and we can get rid of the back panel straight away. So this is the false state. I'll leave it, I'll turn it red for the false state for now. And the true state, we'll make this sort of grey colour, and we will make it pulsate. So if it was true, 1 equals 1, that is a true state, so you can see it's pulsating there, right? And if we were to make it this olive drab colour, it would pulsate like that. That's perhaps a bit, so we'll have it like that, okay? So there's it pulsating for true. So we can go to false, and it'll switch off. So for false, for now, we'll leave it as red so we can see what we're doing. And we'll move this up, move this across and up, and we'll put it behind the capacitor one, and we'll expand this out, shift it across a bit, and we'll make it a little bit higher. So there we go. So there's the indicator. Of course, we won't have it red. We'll have it this olive drab colour when it's off. So we need something now which turns it on when we're in manual mode. So we don't want it to show when we're in auto, bypass or setup. So that's the first stage. So if we go over here and we have a look at mode, we change it to auto, it's 1. Change it to manual, it's 2. So we'll copy this variable mode, and we only want it to show when it's 2, i.e. manual, when it's number 2. So we'll paste that in there, the variable equals 2. So it will only be true right now when the mode is 2. So if I flip to auto, it will instantly switch off. And because the mode is now 2, it's blinking. But we only want it to blink when the mode is 2 and you're on the capacitor. We don't want it to blink when you're on the inductor. So we go over here and we look at the stepper motor selected, I think it's called. Yeah, stepper motor selection here. So as you can see, it's 1 in capacitor mode. If I press it now, it'll change to 2 for inductor mode. So we want to take this variable, copy, and we want to say if the mode is 2 equals 2, which is manual, and double ampersand, the stepper motor selection is equal to 1. So stepper motor selection 1 ANDed with the mode needs to be 2. And so if we switch to capacitor now, inductor, sorry, well, the stepper motor is not 1 anymore, so it stops flashing, and we go back to capacitor and it starts flashing. If we're on auto, obviously it's not flashing. So that's set up. We want to copy the coordinates into transmit. Otherwise, if we were on here and we hit transmit, scratch all that. There's no per transmit thing for the LED indicator, so we're good to go. We've got the right sizes and everything there, so that's all okay. So we just need to make another one now for the inductor. So we'll what we'll do a text, a LED indicator here. So there's the next one. We'll show the panel. But what we can do, because we're so close with this setting on here, we can pipette this one, the one that we've set up that's flashing there, and we can paste it into this one down below. So all the settings will get copied over. But of course, let's just change this to red, and we want to drive that one across to be on the inductor. So we'll put that there, like so. But we want it for mode 2. However, we want the motor selection to be 2 now, so we need to only have it happen on when you're on the inductor. Okay, and the false setting will be going back to the olive, so it won't be displayed. And then if we switch to inductor, now it will. And then we can, we can change this like so. And of course, you can have different colors. You don't need it quite as dark as that kind of thing. It's you can configure this however you like, really. It's entirely up to you. So that's everything set up there to mimic this. The only thing that's left now are these meters. So we'll add two meters. So one is the power, forward power, and one is the SWR. However, these are displaying, let's get it out of manual, these are displaying the ANAN settings as opposed to the ANAN power and SWR, as opposed to the data coming from the HF Auto. So what we need to do is look at this, displayed SWR, so there it is, 2AGP, displayed SWR. So if we go back to the SWR meter, you can click on this variable button, and we need to look. I've got loads of these variables in here because I've got various things going on. We need to look at 2AGP, which was that one, and SWR, which will be down here. There it is, displayed SWR. So we'll select that. So that's now linked that SWR meter to the data that's coming in from here. And we need to do the same for the forward power. So we'll look up here. Displayed, we're looking for displayed power or something like that. Anyway, display frequency, you've probably already seen it, but I haven't seen it. There it is, displayed power. Right, so there it is. So we'll go back to here, we'll go on forward power, pick on this, and 2AGP displayed power. So it's down bottom somewhere. There it is. we'll select that. So that's now set up. So if we were to there's nobody on this frequency, let's just put a tune signal out a minute. There you go, you can see the SWR and the power, it has moved. And it's dropping there because the way I've got my HF Auto set up, if I go into setup, and yes, you can access the menus through this software, you can see it changing on the LCD in the bottom of the screen. So if I press select, it'll cycle through the entries, and if I get to where is it? Last SWR display, so it doesn't hold the display on the LCD screen and consequently doesn't hold it in the data coming back over. So the SWR will drop when there's no power. So that's how I've had mine set up. Otherwise, these meters will stay locked at what is ever shown on the screen. So just bear that in mind. Those are the two settings. There's the power one. So yeah, and of course you can change the colors for this as well. We could have high black, low black, high black, peak value black, low value black. Show the title no, but set the background color to the olive drab. And there we go, there's the meter. We can copy this, we can pipette this and paste it into the SWR one, but bear in mind if you do that, it will copy over the variable as well, so you'd have to set that back if you use that pipette stuff after you've set up the variables. This one, of course, oh hell, I double clicked there by accident. So we'll just do that again. What was it? Forward power. I had a twitch on my finger, trigger finger. Right, so we'll copy this, copy, paste, change the variable to forward displayed power. So there we go. And he's back up and running. The last thing I did was turn auto height on, so it fixes that, and I thought, oh, that's a bit close to the bottom of there. So I'll add a spacer in at the bottom, and we'll make him on this spacer, we'll make it olive drab as well, and we can reduce the height of that so we can add a bit more sort of padding at the bottom, like so. And there we go. So we go into TX, everything stays in place. You can resize this to your heart's content. And the power meters, SWR meters, work. If you're in manual mode, you get the flashing indicator, and of course bypass will do that, and antenna like so. So yeah, there we are. That's a video on how to set one of those up, and of course you don't have to copy how it looks. You can make your own design, but that's the way it can be done. So HF Auto version 2 1.0.2 will be released for this video, and hopefully some of the little quirks have been ironed out with it. If a antenna is moved because of idle or bad weather, then the antenna switching down here doesn't get used until you come back out of idle, or if you use this return from bad weather. But I don't have that on in case there's been some static build-up or whatever from snow or whatever. So there we are. And I don't know if I mentioned the hot switch stuff. That will prevent the software from switching whilst there's RF detected. So there we are. Right, that's gone on a bit, that video, but hopefully it's covered everything to set this up. So there we are. Okay guys, cheers very much as well for the donations that have been coming in, much appreciated. You don't have to do that, but it's greatly appreciated, and thanks very much. Alright, take it easy, I'll catch you again. Cheers.